one of the things that I realized was the CDC's obviously gross abuse of power during the COVID lockdowns. And ultimately, to sum it up, what my bill is going to do is it really will claw back and give Congress the basically overarching authority over the CDC guidance in regards to what happens with their policies and how it will impact the economy. We saw that the CDC was basically pushing forward some of these mandates that really, I think, violated not just people's personal freedoms, but also their property rights. And so we want to ensure that that never happens again and we don't have a situation like this that doesn't happen in the future.
One more question. One of the big things that was, happened with kind of so-called CDC guidance, right, was, of course, all these mandates that happened. And now we know that, quote unquote, the science was never there in the first place to justify it, never mind the ethics, whether or not the science was there. How does this bill best deal with the question of mandates? That's the question, because that'll be something that's on people's minds.
Well, so we saw that the mandates were largely in part pushed by the CDC, but then you had states like Florida and more conservative leaning states where the governor said, we're not going to adhere to these mandates. And so essentially what it would do is it would give pushback on the federal guidance for mandates. So remember how they forced all of the TSA agents to mask up and get vaccinated, federal workers. Hopefully this would provide oversight so that they can't do that anymore.
I'm thinking of one particular case. So there was an airline pilot who became vaccine injured. He's featured in The Unseen Crisis, our documentary recently. But basically, he didn't want to get it. But since he was the sole breadwinner in the family actually had a meeting and discussed it and said, okay, well, I guess I will, because otherwise I'm not going to have a job and we need it for the family.
That's
And I
so
imagine
sad.
there were lots of people that were exactly in that boat.
Look, when I was in the military, I've been vaccinated against everything under the sun, but it doesn't mean that you can force people to get vaccinated. I think that that's a really big clarification. You cannot force people to take something that they might necessarily agree with, whether it's for personal or religious reasons, and that's just a fact.
Well,
So it's interesting. The party that screams "My body, my choice" was very much so not about people's bodies and people's choices.